Flowers contain the organs and tissues angiosperms need for sexual reproduction. Cones are equivalent structures in conifers. In addition to sexual reproduction, many plants also reproduce asexually, producing progeny that are clones of themselves. Seeds are always produced within a fruit or a cone. There are no exceptions. The tan-colored strawberry seeds are fruits that each contain one true seed. The red sweet tissue is a false fruit. I'm Dr. DeBusk, and in this video I'm going to talk about flowers, reproduction, and fruits. Reproduction can create offspring with identical copies of the parent genes or offsprings genetically different from the parents. In stable environments, asexual reproduction may be more selectively advantageous. In less stable environments, sexual reproduction can produce progeny that are more fit. In sexual reproduction, progeny are genetically diverse. That is how we get different cultivars of plants like this corn and these tomatoes. Some are less adapted than the parent, but others are more adapted. Offspring cannot colonize a new site as rapidly because not all progeny are adapted for it, but some can colonize different sites with characteristics not suitable for parents. Changes in habitat may adversely affect some progeny, but others may be adapted to the new conditions. Isolated individuals cannot reproduce. In asexual reproduction, all progeny are genetically identical to the parent and to each other. All of them are as adapted to the environment as the parent, but none of them is more adapted. Rapid colonization of a new site is possible, although all of them may be adversely affected by even minor changes in the habitat. Even isolated individuals can reproduce. Strawberry, onion, and potato are often propagated through asexual runners, bulbs, and tubers. Kalanchoe plant are called maternity plants and reproduce asexually. See the little roots? Seeds are produced by sexual reproduction and can be dispersed over long distances. New plants that are produced asexually are usually not capable of long-distance dispersal. Fragmentation is one of the most common methods of asexual reproduction. A large vining plant grows to several meters in length. Individual parts become self-sufficient by adventitious roots. If middle portions of the plant dies, ends become separated and act as individuals. Cholla, a species of Opuntia, have branches weakly attached. If an animal brushes against it, it gets pulled off and roots where it lands. Compared to humans, the plant life cycle is more complex. Their life cycle has an alternation of generations, a sporophyte generation that is diploid and a gametophyte generation that is haploid. Sporophytes produce haploid spores meiotically. Gametophytes produce gametes by mitosis. The gametes join together through fertilization to produce a diploid zygote that grows into a new sporophyte. Male microspores develop into microgametophytes that produce sperm. Eggs produce megagametophytes that develop from megaspores. A flower is a stem with leaf-like structures. Complete flowers have all four floral appendages: sepals, petals, stamens, and carpels or pistils. Incomplete flowers lack at least one of these four appendages, as you can see in these carpellate and staminate flowers. Sepals are the outermost floral appendage. They are modified leaves that surround maturing flower parts and protect the flower bud as it develops. They may be colorful, like this delphinium, to attract pollinators. All the sepals together are referred to as a calyx. Petals are located above the sepals on the receptacle. They are leaf-like but contain pigments other than chlorophyll. They attract pollinators. Collectively, they are called a corolla. They are absent in wind-pollinated species. Stamens occur above the petals. They have two parts: the anther and its supporting filament. Diploid anther cells, microsporocytes, undergo meiosis to produce four microspores. Microspores form a resistant cell wall and become pollen. Carpels or pistils have three parts: the stigma, style, and ovary. The stigma catches pollen grains. The style elevates the stigma, and the ovary is where megaspores are produced. Within the ovary are placenta-bearing structures called ovules. The ovule has a central mass of parenchyma called a nucellus that will later form the embryo and stored food, endosperm. The megasporocyte undergoes meiosis to produce 4 megaspores. 3 degenerate. An ovule develops into a seed after it is fertilized. The integuments that surround the nucellus expand and mature into the seed coat. The surrounding ovary develops into a fruit. The divisions of the zygote form the embryo. 2 primordia develop into 1 or 2 cotyledons. They also consist of a radicle, an embryonic root, epicaudal, an embryonic stem, and hypocaudal, the root-shoot junction. Cotyledons store nutrients used during and after germination. Eudicots have 2 cotyledons. The endosperm nutrients may be transferred to the cotyledons as the seed matures, becoming filled with starch, oil, or protein. Peanuts are mainly cotyledons. If endosperm is sparse or absent at maturity, such as this germinating bean seed, the seed is exalbuminous. In monocots, there is 1 cotyledon, and the endosperm remains in the mature seed. The cotyledon is thin. A mature seed in which the endosperm is abundant is an albuminous seed, like this germinating corn seed. As the ovule develops into a seed, the ovary matures into a fruit. Often 3 layers form. The exocarp is the outer layer, the skin or peel. The middle layer is the mesocarp or flesh. The innermost layer is the endocarp, can be either tough or quite thin. The entire fruit wall is the pericarp. Cross-pollination is by pollen from a different individual. Self-pollination is by pollen from the same flower or another on the same plant. The results of each are similar to those of sexual versus asexual reproduction. Mechanisms have evolved to decrease the probability of self-pollination and increase the chances of cross-pollination. Self-fertilization in flowers that have both stamens and carpels is prevented if anthers and stigmas mature at different times. On plants with many flowers that do not open simultaneously, older flowers could be self-pollinated by newly opened flowers of the same plant. The stamens of this cactus flower is mature and shedding pollen, but the stigmas, green, are pressed together and are unreceptive. Later, the stamens wither and the stigmas spread open, ready to receive pollen from a different flower. Self-pollination may be inhibited by compatibility barriers. Chemical reactions between pollen and carpels may prevent pollen tube growth. This pollen grain has started to grow on an incompatible stigma, but the stigma has blocked it, causing callose to form. The callose fluoresces in ultraviolet light, so it shines brightly in this micrograph. Flowers that lack either stamens or carpels, essential organs, are imperfect flowers. If a flower has both, it is a perfect flower. Some species have distinct individuals that produce only staminate flowers and others that produce only carpellate flowers. The species, not the flower or the plant, is said to be dioecious. Dioecy ensures cross-pollination. Monoecious is the condition of having staminate flowers located on the same plant as the carpellate. The species is monoecious. Ears of corn are really large groups, inflorescences, of carpellate flowers surrounded by protective leaf-like bracts, the husks. The corn silks are long styles. Corn tassels are inflorescence of staminate flowers. Each corn plant produces both ears and tassels. The species is monoecious. Some species can vary the ratio of staminate carpellate flowers depending on the environmental conditions. Animal pollinated flowers exhibit dramatic evolutionary changes. Insect flower associations increase the probability of pollination. Some animals and flowers have undergone coevolution. A flower adapts for visitation by a particular animal and the animal for efficient exploitation of the flower. This photo shows a sphinx moth pollinating the moonflower. Most flowers are radially symmetrical, actinomorphic flowers. Flowers that co-evolved with animals are often bilaterally symmetrical, like the pollinators, or zygomorphic flowers. Zygomorphic flowers are easier for animals to interact with successfully. Both the flower and the insect receive their rewards. Some plants and animals have co-evolved tricks that rob one or the other. This orchid, Chiloglottis, tricks wasps into carrying pollen for free by looking, smelling, and feeling like a female wasp. Wind-pollinated flowers usually have no petals and reduced or absent sepals. Huge numbers of pollen grains are produced to increase the chances of pollination. Large feathery stigmas increase the area that can catch pollen grains. Up to several thousand tiny flowers may be produced per plant. Wind-pollinated plants tend to form dense populations that aid pollination. Long styles and stamens and buried ovaries help protect the ovary and ovules from pollinators. Inferior or epigynous ovaries have few spaces of stamens, petals, and sepals. With superior or hypogynous ovaries, the ovary sits above the other floral parts. Intermediate, partially buried ovaries are half inferior or perigynous. Reproductive success may be increased by increasing the number of ovules per flower. Large flowers tend to have numerous ovules. The advantage of a large flower is that it is easily seen by pollinators. However, disadvantages are that it is a large energy investment and one large flower can easily be damaged or removed without ever setting seed. Smaller flowers with fewer ovules may be grouped together in an inflorescence. It is visible to pollinators but not as risky as one large flower. Pond flowers are small and inconspicuous. When grouped together, their inflorescence has even more impact than a single large flower. Thousands of tiny pond flowers are present here, each too small to be seen at this magnification. Inflorescence also provide control over the initiation, maturation, and opening of the flowers so the plant can be flowering over a longer period of time. When grouped into inflorescences, two basic arrangements occur. Determinate inflorescence. The apex is converted to a flower which tends to open before the lower flowers. Indeterminate inflorescence. The lowest or outermost flowers open first. The new flowers are being initiated at the apex. The inflorescence of this combretum is even more striking than the individual flowers. Notice how the flowers mature and open sequentially. Fruits are adaptations that result in the protection and the distribution of seeds. Tough fruits are well protected but expensive to produce. The seed must be able to break out to germinate. If animals are to disperse the seeds, part of the fruit must be edible or otherwise attractive. Drupes, peaches, and cherries provide maximum attraction to animals with minimum danger to the seed. The seed and embryo must be protected from consumption. The hard seed coats, or endocarps, protect the seeds as they pass through the animal digestive tract. Hard, bitter, unripe seeds or fruits deter animals until the protective structures around the seed have developed. Fruits can be described as either true fruits or accessory fruits. True fruits are fruits containing only ovarian tissue. Accessory, false fruits, is used if any ovarian tissue is present, such as this strawberry or apple. Fusion of carpels affect the nature of fruits. They can be simple fruits, aggregate fruits, such as raspberries, or multiple fruits, such as figs, mulberries, and pineapple. There are dry fruits, inedible to animal, and fleshy fruits, eaten to distribute seeds. Dry fruits are further classified based on fruit opening. Dehiscent fruits break open, releasing the seeds. Indehiscent fruits do not. In grasses, seed and fruit are fused together, called a caryopsis. There is little protection and no attraction for animals. Fruits of beans and peas are called legumes. They form a single carpel. They dehisce along two lines of weakness. Wind-dispersed seeds are lightweight. They often have wings or parachutes to carry them in wind. As these maple fruits drop, the wings cause them to rotate and float, thus remaining aloft and traveling much further on the wind. The spiral hairy tails of this geranium fruits let them float on the wind over long distances. Fruits and seeds that are transported by water, such as coconuts, must be buoyant and resist mildew and rot. Animals often disperse seed by interacting with the fruit. There are benefits beyond dispersal for seeds distributed by animals. A seed may be deposited and find itself in a small or large mound of organic fertilizer. In conclusion, plants are adapted through their flower or fruit type, asexual or sexual reproduction, to be successful in their environment.